Yes, yes. Welcome back to the MikiDz Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Episode to be determined. Because really, we're living life on the East Coast.
Yeah,
taking it on the road.
Setting.
In a beautiful setting it is. We're in Boston at the moment. Fresh off the link up in Foxwoods.
Yep, Connecticut.
Got a chance to go check out High Rollers and Shrine.
Yeah.
And we got a very special guest in the house. First time podcast.
We do a good job of picking our first-time podcasters. You're like the
first-time podcaster. Let's do it.
First-timer we've had.
How you feeling?
I'm pretty good. Pretty excited. Hanging out with you guys.
Thank you for having us, first of all.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And I think Dainja's got to do the proper intro.
Yeah, so, ladies and gentlemen, Randy Greenstein is joining us on the pod, and Randy owns, 13?
18 we're up to.
18.
Don't short him.
From
18.
Connecticut to Boston.
And then Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, too, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Beautiful.
So all that, and originally it started with Shrine.
Shrine was our first, that was our first official nightclub as Big Night Entertainment Group. My two partners, Ed and Joe Kane, had stuff before that.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone remembers, but it was big outdoor, 60,000 square foot, 3,000 person place called Waterworks.
Lord.
I actually DJ'd there, which is, we'll get into that. I DJ'd there for 10 years, and that's kind of how I met the guys. And then we started Big Night in 2006 together. And shortly thereafter, we opened Shrine in May of 08. Yeah. I have a pretty good Shrine May of 08 story, but in October of 07, Foxwoods reached out to us and said it was supposed to be a Tao, from what they told us, right? Okay. Literally, it was supposed to be Tao.
Right.
And I guess they backed out and or whatever. I don't know the whole story from their end. But we got the call saying, hey, do you want to look at this 21,000 square foot empty space?
Right.
And that's about to open in MGM Grand at Foxwoods in Connecticut. And meanwhile, I grew up here, so Foxwoods was like my mecca.
Right.
I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to Foxwoods. So and then Ed and Joe, my partners, were like, they've never been. Right. So we got in a car, drove down there, met the president of Foxwoods at the time, and like a day later, they basically had a lease in our hands. Wow. That was like, if you want to do it, it had to be an Asian restaurant, nightclub, lounge. Yeah. That was the requirement. Yeah. Okay. So that was in May of 07, and then October of 07, and we opened May of 08.
Wow.
It was dirt floors, no brand, no menu, no chef, no DJ booth, no speaker system. It was literally beginning to end. It's actually cool because we ended up linking through Scribble with Function One with Dan Agnew from Sound Investments. Yeah. And so through Scribble, through that, we locked in with Dan, and now all of our places are Function One. So like that started at Shrine with I love that sound system. And you guys were there this weekend. It's 12 years old and it still sounds. It's perfect. It's flawless. It's like it's bulletproof.
Right.
And then since then we've used them all along. But it was a wild beginning back in 07 and 08, and to develop what is our baby, our first big club ever as Big Night. So
yeah, and now speeding up to 2020. Well, along the way you've opened many restaurants, and 2018 you opened up the Grand, and in 2019 you got Best Dance Club of the Year award from Bar and Nightlife, right?
Yep, Nightclub and Bar.
Nightclub and Bar.
Yep.
And then 2019 you opened up MikiWAR. Early in the year, or middle of the year, and then later on, Big Night Live opens up.
Yeah. So in the last 6 months alone, we opened $50 million worth of properties, which is just the most ridiculous thing of all time. Jesus. Now Grand was like a year before that. And that opened and really came out of the gate. It's double what we thought it was going to do. It literally does double what we projected. So it's incredible. Boston had never had a nightclub of Grand's stature of brand new. That was a brand new construction. Right. So that was dirt floors too. Wow. We were able to we worked on it for 4+ years. We were able to custom design it. We sunk the dance floor. It has low ceilings. So came up with the whole kinetic light structure. There's 200 lights in the ceiling that all go, wave up and down, all on individual motors. So we were able to just customize it, high-tech, 70-foot LED wall that wraps around the dance floor. Yeah. So that was, I think it was late 2017, October of 17 is when we officially opened the Grand. And then MikiWAR at Encore, Boston Harbor, and Big Night Live were already in the works as well.
Wow.
Big Night Live was in the works for 5 years, and Encore was in the works for 4 years.
Wow.
So it's funny because everyone's like, how the heck did you just do that? And we're like, it didn't feel like a short period of time to us,
right?
Because it was 5 years in the making.
You were planting seeds the whole way through, watering it.
It was all planning every day, every week, construction meetings, design meetings, and like constant meetings to develop what ended up being ridiculous brand new properties on top of each other. So Big Night Live is 43,000 square feet, holds 2,200 people.
To the garden.
It's basically attached to the Boston Garden, yeah. And then MikiWAR at Encore obviously is in a $3 billion brand new casino. So like the surroundings are
with a
B, yeah. The surroundings are just incredible. And then we were fortunate enough to partner up with Wynn Company and Steve Wynn himself actually have some awesome Steve Wynn stories too.
Yeah.
We met here at Empire. It was the first time we ever met. I don't know if you guys know Sean Christie, but Sean's a great guy, Boston guy, president of MGM now. Yeah. At the time, he was with Wynn, and he brought Steve Wynn here to Empire.
Wow.
He was kind of seeing. It seemed as though they knew they wanted to have one local operator in the casino.
Right.
So they were kind of like shopping it around, like who's the best local operator that we could work with. And Sean brought Mr. Wynn here to Empire first, and our chef made like really custom sushi stuff for him. And like, the lights were on, the music was, oh no, nothing, So super VIP experience, came in and we got along, and awesome. And he selected us. And this was years ago at this point, 3-4 years ago. And we flew out to Vegas a bunch of times and had meetings in his villa.
Okay.
His villa was in the hotel overlooking the golf course, and it's like we sat at his conference room table and like he was part of the design.
Wow.
It was just incredible, but that was MikiWAR, and then that, like I said, like 3-4 years in the making, and then Big Night Live was in the making as well, and then they opened within 3 months of each other. And you can't quite they could have probably opened within the same week of each other if we tried to at least give them a little breathing room, as much as you could, but at the same time you have leases that were signed years and years and years ago that basically say you start paying rent on this day.
Right. Oh yeah.
And we actually started paying rent at Big Night Live in September, but we opened October 31st, so we had 2 months of rent.
Yeah, a little burn rate there.
Yeah, a little burn rate there. And it's not a small rent.
It's a humble
43,000 square feet in Boston, brand new construction. That shit ain't cheap.
I don't want to do the math. Bust out the old Texas Instrument calculator.
But we're open, and it's been good so far. So
on this pod, in many episodes, I've spoken highly about the Grand and Big Night Live and MikiWAR, and I try to explain Big Night Live, and it's like, I think when people go to a live entertainment venue, it's kind of just like a big open space and people standing around, but you've managed to bring the two worlds of bottle service and GA to one venue. And when I went to the Roddy Ricch show, and that was an incredible show. And I'm looking at the layout of everything. How many tables you guys have? 40?
24.
Okay, 24. Each table was sold out, and and you guys announced it like 2 days before the show?
Yeah. Well, the Roddy Ricch show got moved from Brighton Music Hall, which was basically a 500-person room in Boston. He was actually doing 2 shows. Right. They both sold out.
It was a Friday and Monday, right?
Saturday and Monday.
Gotcha.
And he was going to the Super Bowl the day in between. But what's interesting about that is that they booked it. It was Live Nation, and they booked it before he blew up.
Yeah.
So they booked one show. And it's sold, album comes out, it's on fire, sells out.
Right.
They had a second show 2 days later, sells out. And we were able to move, because he was so hot, move both those shows into one Big Night Live show. And 1,500 people, it was awesome. He could have sold probably 5,000 more tickets. That's how hot he is right now.
And then you had him at the Grand.
So then we were able to do an after party at the Grand, which was perfect, just because the Big Night Live show wrapped at like 12:30 or whatever, and then he got to Grand pretty close to closing time, but he got there. He got there. It was close. I was sweating, but he made it.
Yeah, that night, and I don't want to throw numbers around, but I heard you guys broke your bottle service record for that night.
Yeah, I think it was our second busiest night ever, behind Drake.
Drake.
Because we had Drake once.
Right.
You might have heard of him.
Yeah. So
you can't talk about
that was a crazy night, but. that's a long story because he didn't really do anything, so he kind of just sat there. But at least Roddy Ricch performed the box twice. I mean,
He could have probably performed it a couple more times.
And you had Esco before that, so
Esco was great. Yeah. Esco was great.
18 properties of yours, basically, in Boston and Connecticut.
Yeah, Boston, Foxborough, Mass, where Gillette Stadium is, Craft Group, and then Connecticut at Foxwoods. So 5 at Foxwoods, which is Shrine, Scorpion, High Rollers, Guy Fieri's, and Red Lantern.
Okay.
2 at Gillette Stadium, which is CBS Sporting Club that we do with Mr. Kraft, and then another Scorpion bar. So we have 3 Scorpion bars, one in Boston. Actually, the Scorpion bar is under the Grand, so the Grand is the 3rd floor, Scorpion's the 2nd floor, and then 1st floor is the entry. So 9-ish in Boston, and then 2 at the casino.
Got you.
I think that adds up to 11.
So you have all these properties, right? Boston being such a heavy sports city.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got the Bruins, you got the Celtics.
Yeah.
You got the Patriots. And you got
the Red Sox.
Don't act like you
Don't forget about that. They won the World Series a couple years ago.
What's another team you got?
I gotta ask. Obviously Red Sox, huge, obviously winning team franchise. Same thing with the Celtics.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Patriots. With those teams recently in the last year or so, you know what I mean. Patriots not making it as deep into the playoffs as they usually been making in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Red Sox not making the playoffs this past season at all.
Be careful.
How is that?
I wonder where we're going here.
He's also a New York Giants fan. He's also a Giants fan.
Facts.
I wish we did this interview last year. But we wouldn't be going down this direction.
And the Bruins were 1 game away. You would have had a
I want to know
trifecta.
how that impacts your businesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, does that help, or do you see a decrease in business, or?
Yeah, I mean, it depends, right? So obviously we have 2 places at Gillette Stadium. So the further the Patriots go, the better both those places do. The more playoff games there are at home, stuff like that, which obviously has a significant impact on revenue. Sports in general doesn't have a huge impact on nightlife. Because games are done by the time people are going to the clubs at 11, 12, 1 in the morning. So, we are the city of champions. That is a fact. We have been for 10 plus years now, I would say. But except this year. But we'll see. The Bruins could win. The Celtics could win this year. They're looking pretty amazing. So it has an impact, but it's not significant. I mean, obviously, all the players are the celebrities in this market, whereas LA, it's all Hollywood celebrities, and New York's a mixture of every kind of celebrity. But Boston, our sports, our athletes are our celebrities. So, they come to all of our places and have a good time, and that is obviously helpful and impactful.
I was going to say the off-season sometimes doesn't hurt either.
Yeah. Well, the best impact on nightlife is when they win the championship. We actually had 3 Super Bowl parties at two at Shrine for sure, and every year it happens to be Rick Ross. It's the weirdest thing ever. So it's not the first year we did it where it looked like the Patriots might win.
Right.
This was 3 years ago. So we booked Rick Ross on that day, the Tuesday, because our Tuesday, I Love Tuesday at Shrine is the night.
Right.
And so we book it on the Tuesday knowing that if they win Sunday, fly back Monday.
Right.
Parade Tuesday, and we're used to those parades, if you know what I mean. And then, so Tuesday night, we would book Rick Ross. And if they lose, okay, we still have Rick Ross.
Right.
It's still sold out. We still have Rick Ross. So 3 years in a row, we booked Rick Ross, right? 1 year they won. The next year they lose, but we still have this crazy party. And then the 3rd year they won again. And so Rick actually jokes about it at this point, like he's the lucky charm and he's the guy we had to book. But this year, obviously, we didn't even try booking him because Patriots weren't getting there this year.
Pay attention to where it's like, maybe we should hold off because the season doesn't look too promising.
Oh, we literally sit there during playoff time and be like, okay, we look at the calendar and the DJ calendar. I probably spend 10 hours a week on. Like I have spreadsheets, every place, and you've seen them. They're like just each place. It's unbelievable because there's probably 11 or 12 places that have DJs at least 3 nights a week. Some are 4 nights a week. Yeah. So we have a team locally of 23 plus DJs that are working every night, a bunch on salary, like working every night.
Awesome.
But anyway, the booking of the calendar and looking at when the championships those will definitely have an impact because
Yeah.
those parties are. We had the Red Sox World Series champion party at our place, and
we had one too.
had
The
one in
night
LA,
you heard about that one?
I think I did.
One of our buddies, Dre Sinatra, was DJing.
Yeah.
And he was the victim of a champagne shower.
I did see that actually. Now that you say, because that was like a Sunday night or whatever.
Yeah,
and
Sunday
then we
night,
had
yeah.
like the Monday night, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I think the LA party was better than ours. I
heard the numbers, and I mean, Dre's laptop was spilling, but they came through and they bought him the laptop.
Did they?
They offered him 2,
Yeah.
and he said, just cause. But he's like, I'll take 1. Like, we're not gonna make a big deal about it. But
that's a great story.
But he was like, it's already terrible that we lost. He's like, it's bad enough my laptop had to die with it.
Yeah.
with his hopes.
I think the LA party was only good because it was literally the night of the game.
Exactly. Like they rolled into it and they were ready to party.
Ready to go.
By the time they got to the Grand, it was like exhausted, flying back,
Probably drinking the whole flight.
Parade, this, that, and the other, like so much other stuff
That's a long 48 hours.
compete with. Yeah.
And you just played the day that. Not only did you party, but you played.
Yeah. That's cool though.
So with everything you got going on, the crazy spreadsheets, I can't even imagine what your schedule looks like. And you're a family man.
Yeah.
How do you balance those things? We always talk about on a podcast, like we're always trying to have people walk away with something that they can apply to their lives.
Yeah.
And, we try to be informative as possible.
Yeah.
So what are some tidbits maybe that you use in your daily, schedule?
Yeah, I mean, balance is critical, right? So I have 2 kids, 2 boys. I don't miss any of their games, right?
That's awesome,
so
man.
my youngest one is national judo champ, state wrestling champ, football. I love football, middle linebacker, running back. So like, I'll make every game, every match. I don't care what's going on. That's critical. And then my older one actually produces music, DJs his high school parties and stuff. He's a junior in high school. He's making some pretty good tracks too, like electronic. I'm pretty excited about.
Awesome.
So like, I spend a lot of time with him on that. Bring him to Big Night Live. Bring him to the Grand. He actually does some of our video recaps. So like, bring him. So that's our connection is music. And the other one's the little jock in the family. So, so the connection, and I wrestled my whole life, so that was our connection. So balancing and making sure you're home. Like I was on vacation last week, which is rare, but I did spend a week. It was school vacation week.
Deserved.
Spent a week in Aruba. It's so funny. Life is weird because I almost don't feel like I deserve it. You work so much in this business.
18 venues, come on.
It's hard. It's so hard because we have 1,500 employees now, which is like the most mind-boggling thing. Like to start in 2008 with 1 and to now have 1,500 is like, that to me is the thing I'm probably most proud of is developing an organization that has that. Yeah. But I have to fight the balance because my family deserves it and they need it. But then I always feel like if I'm not working, I'm doing a disservice to the team, the team too. So it's a weird mental issue to try to fight for balance, and so I do the best I can. Okay. And my family's pretty happy with the balance, but is it ever enough? In either direction. No,
I totally understand. Is there any?
It's a fine line. I'm walking a tightrope.
Is there any routines that help you kind of put you back in that balance? Because it's hard to walk out of it, and you get back into your own daily routines or weekly routines, if you will.
Yeah, routine for me, I love repetition. I love having the same schedule every week, which is the most absurd thing ever because I don't ever have the same schedule, right? So, but we have all these nightlies, so Wednesday at the Grand, Thursday at the Grand, Friday, and then Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Shrine, and then Sunday, Saturday, Friday at MikiWAR. So we're actually open 7 nights a week at this point at all the places. So it's trying to, and man, I'm in the office so much more now than I have ever been. And not many people know how much goes into, you guys do, but not that many people know how much actually goes into these nights. It's not like you just show up at 9 o'clock and you open the door and it happens. There's so much planning. So we're in the office from 8A to 8P before the night even starts. Yeah. And now I've been focusing more on that and a little bit less on being out because we could be out 7 nights a week. Yeah. I can't do that. Yeah. So speaking of balance, it's making sure not being out every night. Yeah. Having some sort of routine of being around before the fam goes to bed. Right. Because that's, once they go to bed, it's okay, I may as well stay at work till 2 in the morning, So it's just balancing and trying to have a routine. Yeah. There's nothing that really sets me. Work relaxes me.
Okay.
So I'd rather work than not work.
Yeah.
So nothing really resets me that much.
And trust and delegation, I'm sure, is a huge...
Yeah, it's important. We have an amazing team in every department. I'm so happy with our team. Yeah. From the entertainment and music side to the finance side to the marketing side, human resources side. Like our company has now grown to a point where each department has 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people in it.
Yeah.
And led by people that we probably have 20 people that have been with us since 2008, since day one, which is super cool. And they've all grown and become a major part of the organization. So you have to delegate, you have to trust everybody to do their job. And I'm now more around, for decisions. Like, I feel like I just try to make 100 decisions a day and just bang them out and then move on to the next day.
Sure.
I think what's really cool about what you're doing is you've had Buddy for a long time. You just walked in, and you've had Vinny Vibe for a while. Jess, and all these guys.
JD's been a day one. JD was my first. JD was my first interview in Connecticut, right? Wow. So he lived in Ledyard, Connecticut, which was Foxwoods is.
Yeah.
Who lives in Ledyard, Connecticut? No one.
My fiance
right?
Used to.
Come on.
She was in Norwich.
All right, but that's not Ledyard.
Yeah, you're right.
Foxwoods is Ledyard. Yeah. JD lives in Ledyard. So anyway, so I remember, because we had back then, as 12 years ago, 13 years ago, we had ads in the newspaper and stuff to get people to come in. He was the first interview, so I hired him instantly. From a DJ perspective, he's become our tech person in Connecticut, and from lighting to sound to DJing to working the schedule. So JD, Costa, Buddy, who's here, Jesse,
you've had
Vinny,
all these guys come up as DJs, and now they're working for you on the not so DJ side. They're in the office working for you, which is great, because you hear about DJs being with the company for so long, and sometimes it's their decision to just stay as a DJ, but a lot of times they bring in people outside the company or outside the circle. And why not use this guy? He knows the landscape of DJs and music. Why not use him as opposed to bringing in this guy who's not a DJ, who doesn't know?
Well, I'd have to say, because I grew up, I worked at Kiss 108, which is the big radio station in Boston, now an iHeart station, from the time I was 16 to 31 or whatever. DJ'd from 18 to the time we opened Shrine. Once we opened Shrine, I stopped. But so I think coming from that background of being a DJ, but that's not what defined me, It's what paid me for a lot of, all those years through college and young professional and stuff. But there's always so much more that I wanted as a person. So I think that whether it be any of the guys we just mentioned, or girls, because we have Melina. and Buddy has and Jesse and everybody in the room has coached a bunch of amazing, female DJs that have wanted to learn how to DJ. And they have actually, we teach them actually how to be DJs, not fake DJs.
Right.
Like they know how to play. They can rock a room for 2 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
So talking about that too, but I think if anybody wants more, we have more. I wanted more, so why would it stop at just DJing? Because I think it's the best perspective in the entire club. So you're in the booth watching the whole thing, whether it be bottle servers, security, the crowd, the bartenders.
Right.
You literally see every single human in the place. So if you want more and hardworking and intelligent and have other passions, well, what's a better perspective than being in the booth and watching what's in front of you? So I feel like that's where I got my perspective.
I also got to show you love and give you your flowers for giving DJs an opportunity that the DJs that aren't a part of agencies. So like me, for example, when I got back to doing Shrine a few years ago. It worked out, and then you said, Cole, we'll get you at the Grand, which was kind of mind-blowing to me because I just remember seeing flyers of the Grand, and it was Drake and Tiesto. And I even remember saying, oh, man, it'd be great to do that, but I'm not even going to bug them about that because there's levels to this,
Yeah.
But then you gave me that opportunity, and then I looked at the landscape, and as many times as you kept bringing me back, and I realized I'm one of the few, if not the only DJ that's not a part of a roster that you continue to bring back. And I think it's dope that you're not looking for guys on a roster. Like, if you're dope, you're dope.
Yeah, I don't care about a roster. I don't care about agencies. I don't care about a roster, especially when it comes to open format. Obviously, with the EDM stuff, the agencies are the ones, delivering the biggest and international talent. But when it comes to just Can you rock a party, right? Because these are the very basic things that we go by, right? Are you a good person?
Right.
Can you rock a party?
Right.
And is there no drama? That's all. If you can rock a party and you're a good person, you're going to get rehired.
And it's that simple. It's so important for our fan base to hear that because all these agencies are popping up. Then you have the agencies that have been around for a while, and then now there's like a gig swapping thing going on. So some of these guys feel discouraged and they're just like, I'm never going to grow because no one out there is going to give me opportunity unless I'm part of these cliques or situations. Yeah. So it's dope for them to hear that, there are bookers out there that will take an interest in you, provided you put yourself in that, you do the right steps to get yourself to that situation.
Yeah, well, you've worked hard, obviously, and you grind, and so we obviously knew each other even from the LMFAO days, and then coming and rocking a party and being a good person, it's like, okay, well, when's the next gig, you know? Yeah. And so I don't look at it at all ever by who's with who, and I hate gig swapping, because I care about who's gonna play my places, right? Like, who's gonna rock the Grand, who's gonna rock Shrine, who's gonna rock MikiWAR, because that's what matters, not that you play in, I don't even pick a place, I don't even care. What difference does it make? Like, whether it be in New York, Miami, or Vegas, that helps if you're playing one of the big places, because you're probably good, you know, if you're playing one of the big spots. But like the whole swapping thing, it's like, I don't necessarily get it, because is it in the best interest of our clubs? That's the question I ask, which is why I continue to have my finger on the calendar and care about the bookings and are such a major part of the bookings, is because if you leave it up to somebody else, then gig swapping comes into play, then favors come into play, then quid pro quo comes into play.
It becomes a part of what's my agenda. Yeah. I can swap, so what's my agenda? How can I maximize this, as opposed to make it great, what's best for the club?
The club. Right. And so we have a very, very, very specific strategy of what night of the week has what types of DJs, what types of music. You know, so the Grand, just as an example, Wednesday is now a new night, state of the sound, turntablism, great DJs, dope DJs, fun party, industry, like DJs. That's what we want Wednesdays to be. Thursdays, deep house, tech house, you know, underground music, and it's a genre that is doing well in certain markets and is doing well in this market, but it's a niche. It's only for some people, so we'll do that on Thursday. Friday is our big EDM progressive house night.
I went to Griffin's last show.
Yeah, he's amazing. And then Saturday is true open format. You know, like I want Saturdays to be as much AM style, as much mashup, as much a little bit of everything as possible.
Love that.
Because that's a party.
Yeah.
You know, like we want every night to feel like a house party. Yeah. And play a little bit of everything. So if you choose your nights and stay with your brand, the brand of the night, I think that's where success comes, is the repetition, is the what am I going to expect on this night, on that night, on that night. Right. And then you can build followers and build regulars and build, you know, DJs that fit that room and that space, and form relationships with, and which is where, you know, what we were talking about.
And cycling back to being a good person, AKA for our listeners, don't be an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
That's key.
Well, if you're an asshole, you're never going to get booked. Exactly. Like, it's just, imagine actually thinking that's a good strategy. Right? I don't think you can control being an asshole. You either are one or you're not an asshole.
What advice would you actually give a DJ? We constantly preach about branding.
It'd be great to hear from you.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm saying, because we say it from the DJ's perspective, right? We always say, okay, this is the best way that we feel like you can build a relationship with a booker, or how to get into these spots. And I think it would be dope to get advice from an actual person that books DJs on how, if a DJ is like, okay, I want to just evolve in this and elevate and get into spots that that you have, your caliber of spots that you own. Being that you were a DJ back in the past, and now you are in the position that you are now, what advice would you give a DJ that's just trying to elevate in this industry?
Yeah, well, again, number one is you're a good person. So you walk in, you treat everybody with respect, from whoever works there. It doesn't matter, from the front door to the back door. It doesn't matter, to the people helping clean the booth, to the bottle service, to the so if you treat people with respect, you're going to get respect. So that's number one, right? Then you have to be a good DJ, so you have to work at your craft. Do you spend time putting your set together? Do you not just show up and play whatever you feel like, but actually put time into what am I going to play tonight? Taking it seriously, right? So if you take DJing seriously and you work at your craft and you're a good person and you treat everybody with respect, that's like A, B, C, and D, right? That's so important. Yeah. Then, I mean, obviously branding matters. Who are you? What is your brand? What's your logo? Have you put any resources into who you are? Because that's your profession. So, your brand matters, your logo matters, your pictures matter. Do you get good pictures? Do you get professional pictures taken? There's like endless. We could talk about all the different things that matter as a DJ. But it definitely is the basics. Work at DJing, respect people, and you'll get respect back.
Do you get discouraged if you see one of your headliners is doing like a spot that's not like a level or two down, that's not, let's say, not too far from here? Do you see that as that booking that DJ doesn't line up with your brand?
Yeah, that would be a bad idea. So if you're playing the best rooms in the market or in the country or wherever you are, you can't go play a shit room
for sure
the next week, the next day. Pick the best gigs. If you want to be, listen, there's nothing wrong with taking the most amount of gigs you can, right? So if you want to work 2, 3, 4 times a week or more, anywhere, sure. Well, then that's your strategy. If you want to work at the best places, no, you can't go then work at a non-good place, It's tough, though, because there's only... we've been fortunate in this market to have all these different places and to have a group of DJs that are great, want to work with us, see the growth potential, understand what we're putting out. And, before we had all these places, they would all play other places. They would all play other rooms. But it would usually be with like, hey, are you good if I play this room? Are you good? It's working with the booker or the owner or whoever to respect first right of refusal. Like 100%. Like some of the people let's say I've had problems with over the years would be people that didn't give you the first right of refusal. So so if you play our room, well, you can't just go play in literally the lead competitor's room the next week or a day. So
I've had people ask me, "Yo, do you want me to get you booked at this venue?" I go, "Hell no! That's Randy's direct competition. You are crazy."
That's when I flip a switch. So I try to be a nice person. I try to be a good person. Try to preach what I'm actually saying right now. But if you go against that,
there's etiquette. 100%.
Etiquette, But no one has. Very few people have.
Very far between.
And in fairness, it's your living, right? So if your living is based on how many gigs you get a week, you got to pick your best strategy of how to make that living. It might not be work once a month at the best place in the market. It might be work 4 times a week at not the best place in the market. So I think it depends, and each market is different. Each city's different. So each dynamic is different. Boston has always been a pretty competitive city. Like no one really likes each other. From a New York club perspective. Like if you play that club, you're never playing that club. So that's always existed in Boston. So
where do you think Big Night Entertainment stands in comparison to Hakkasan and Tao, and do you think those clubs or those companies get so much praise because of their Vegas success, and do you feel like you need to be in that market to get that?
What a question. It's a great question. It really is, because we strive to be Tao Group or to be Win Nightlife.
Those are or to be Big Brother.
Yeah.
To some degree?
Yeah, I mean, Tao's the premium. They're the best, right? So they did it in a way that I think we're doing it probably a few years behind them and not in New York, right? So they killed it in New York, got the Vegas opportunity, and now just kind of kill it everywhere.
Now
and they're everywhere. And and Madison Square Garden Group bought them, and now they're endless money and all this. But they deserve it. They did a great job, and they did it with multiple concepts in multiple genres. That were cool and fun. And they are hospitable people. And we say all the time, we preach in this company, you have to be hospitable. We're in the hospitality industry. So
Paul's hospitality is...
Yeah, they're great. And that's not the case for most clubs in general, and definitely not the case in New York for most clubs. So they took hospitality and then blew it up. Hakkasan's an interesting example because that was definitely more of a, first of all, it was a restaurant, and then they got a nightclub opportunity in Las Vegas, and yes, that made Hakkasan relevant, right? Being a Vegas huge nightclub, and then Omnia's the coolest nightclub I've ever seen in my life. I mean, like, when you spend $100 million on a nightclub, but they deserve all the credit in the world for building that masterpiece, because that place is incredible. But whether it's Grubman in Miami or Tao Group or Win Nightlife in Vegas, like, yeah, I mean, listen, if Big Night was in Vegas, I'm sure we'd have a different stature within the community. I feel like recently with MikiWAR and Big Night Live, we've taken a little bit of a step up. And the Grand. The Grand started it, obviously. But even as great as like the Grand success was in the first 2 years and winning Nightclub and Bar, top nightclub in the country and all that stuff, it didn't do what MikiWAR and Big Night Live did, right? So MikiWAR is inside Win Boston, Encore Boston Harbor. That instantly was different, because now we're in conversations with Sean Christie's and Alex Cordovas and Win Nightlife and MGM Presidents, and you're in a different conversation when you're in the $3 billion casino. So that was really cool. Yeah. And now we're in a different conversation because we're partners with Live Nation. They're the bookers of Big Night Live. Awesome. So that venue has 2,200 people next to the Boston Garden. And now it's live music mixed with DJs, any genre of music. So like, we're in conversations with the people that own the Garden, and they also own the Bruins, and they're our landlord. And then with the people that own the Celtics, and they have a new tequila called Sincoro that we're doing a lot with. And then you have Robert Kraft, who owns the Patriots, who is our landlord. So, and then we have Foxwoods, which is literally the country's largest casino, the world's second largest casino. So we're in great locations with great landlords, which has made a big impact on our business. But now I think we're at the point where we're in some different conversations, luckily. Happy to even be, I love that question, because just to even be mentioned in that group, we strive to be better than them. Like, if in a perfect world, we come out of this as the best ever. Right. And that's what we strive for. But in the meantime, we'll just do the best we can, and thank you for putting us in that group.
Definitely have to give you guys props, because you guys, like you were saying earlier, all these, when you talk about the Tao Group, you talk about the wins, they come in these major cities. When you build a spot in New York, you build a spot in Miami, Vegas, whatever, because it's a major city, it's already going to get, that traction. Yeah. You guys are in Boston. Yeah. You know what I mean? With all due respect, someone doesn't come to the States.
He doesn't really like Boston that much.
Someone doesn't come to the States and goes, let's go to Boston.
Wow. Let me talk about that. So because obviously New York and LA are the two biggest cities in the country, right? And the two most important, and the two most celebrity-driven and business-driven, and everything about those two cities is 100% accurate. And so we are behind that, and behind that credibility or whatever comes with that. That being said, Boston's a number 10 market or 9 market in the country. It's on fire. The business growth, it might be, I don't know all the facts, but it's one of the fastest growing cities in the country. The business market is huge. The education market, like you have BU, BC, Harvard, Tufts, MIT, Suffolk, Emerson, Berkeley, so many colleges. So there's like 400,000 college kids a year in this market. Wow. So, and if you think about this, 100,000 new ones every year. Right? Because freshmen. So 100,000 leave and 100,000 come. But what happened in the last 5 years is the 100,000 that graduate don't leave. Now that there's more to being offered in the city, which I think is where we've fit in so interestingly, is that the timing of opening the Grand 2 years ago, MikiWAR and Big Night Live all within the last year, we now have places for them to go. So it was never a nightlife city. There were a couple of clubs, they were what they were. There was no technology built, there was no Function One sound systems, there were no 70-foot LED walls, there were no 200 kinetic lights in the ceiling, so that didn't exist. So now by what we strive for was be a Tao Group place, be a Hakkasan Group place, be a Win Nightlife place. and put out the absolute best product with the best technology, now those people are staying in this market.
Yep.
So I would just argue with you that Boston is, it's behind New York and LA. There's no denying that. But it's a very hot and
that's
city.
And that's what I'm saying. And when I say my beginning statement was, I have to give you your flowers because you guys are actually putting Boston, quote unquote, on the map. Like Joe asked you guys are in that conversation now.
Yeah.
Boston is in that conversation.
Yeah.
When we bring up Miami, when we bring up New York and LA, you have to talk about Boston.
That's awesome. I mean,
because what you guys have been doing out here and in the last decade and creating all these properties.
It feels good because that's what we're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
So we're not settling for just being the best in Boston. We don't want to just be the best in Boston.
Right.
Like people say, oh, you're the best in Boston. Who cares?
Right.
Like we want to be the best in the country.
Exactly.
The best in the world.
Yeah.
DJ Mag, top 100 club in the world. That's what we want. Yeah. No Boston club has ever been on that list before. No Boston club has ever won nightclub and bar before. Right. So that's what we're striving for is that next level and not letting Boston actually hold us back from being next level. Because what's stopping Boston from being, it's a huge market in a huge hub, a huge airport, so there's a lot of activity coming in and out of the city with the education. The best schools in the world are here. So there's a lot of great, but you're 100% right. Everyone has to do their part in making it great, and we're trying to do our part in the nightlife and hospitality and restaurant world, and even build an empire and Red Lantern and. Those aren't that different than Tao, Tao itself as a restaurant. And,
I mean, I was going to say, when we went there last night, I'm like, I totally felt the Tao vibes.
Yeah.
And just that elevated experience, quality of food.
Yeah.
And
in fairness, we pretty much tried to rip that one off.
I mean, that was 12 years ago, but that was great. That was great. And I'm a resident back in LA, Tao, so I'm not going to diss nobody, but it was a great experience.
Awesome.
I had a great time. And I'll say really quickly, the last time I was in Boston was probably 10 plus years ago when I met JD when I was on Warped Tour. And coming back, it's just so different. And obviously scenery is beautiful. It's a beautiful city. Yeah. All the new development. Grand is pretty much in the middle of this
brand new development
plaza. Yeah. And when we were looking, we're like, damn, that's a beautiful entry.
I talk every time I get down to the Grand or Memo, we recap our weekends on the pod, and I talk about how great it was, and it's like, I can only tell, not just them, but I can only tell people so much. Yeah. They haven't even stepped in the club yet, and they're looking at the outside like, you spin here?
That's
how'd you knock that one off? But no, we always talk about it on the pod. Big night live venues come up a ton on the podcast, and we got to give you your flowers. And
absolutely,
definitely grateful, and got to give you a thank you in person just for having the opportunity to do this. Not only this interview, but the link up that we got going on. Shout out to Beat Source and DJ City, who have kind of given us this platform. And
thank you. We're happy to have you guys, and we're just happy to be here.
Yeah.
We're in the fun business, and we're just having fun every day. So
are you hanging out with us tonight?
Yeah.
Dope.
All right.
Dope.
I don't know how late, but as late as I can.
Hey,
that balance thing. That balance thing. We'll see when my curfew is.
Hopefully I don't get pulled off, huh?
Before we get out of here, I wanted to also have you talk about Big Night Radio on Globalization.
Oh, yeah.
And also, the MikiDz pod, and now we have our own show on Globalization, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Make sure
we just launched today, so
we launched it.
Sick.
So we're part of the another family. We're part
we're all
of,
under the same tree.
we're all under the same tree, and I just want to know what should people expect from Big Night Radio, and I also wanted to talk about the marketing team that you guys have for Big Night in general, because I mean, not just because of this, but your recap videos are the best. Like the best I've ever seen, the best I've ever seen. In the turnaround time, it's like the next morning they're up.
Yeah.
They're ready to go.
Yeah,
but let's talk about the radio first.
Yeah, so Big Night in general, now that we have 18 places, and we're working on a couple of other venues, but nothing huge. Like we're at our max of Boston nightlife. Boston nightlife can't get bigger than the 3 places we have. There's not enough people to sustain that. But whether we go to other markets, whatever else we do next, there's nothing predetermined. But what I do know what we want to do is more things in music. So Big Night Radio is step 1, which is, guest mixes on Globalization, on Sirius, on Dash, on Kiss 108 here in Boston. Nice. So with iHeart. So we have some goals there too, so guest mixes. It's mostly dance music. But like guest mixes by Aoki and Rehab and Loud Luxury and all those guys.
Awesome.
as they come and play our venues, hey, let's do a mix and then get it, on those 3 places. So Big Night Radio has been a cool thing that we just started, a few months ago. Excited about it. I think after that, a lot of things might come down the music road. We're working on some management, Big Night Talent, like a management company, Big Night DJ, sort of a marketing platform for DJs that hopefully will come out in 2020. But
beautiful.
We have a company called Big Mind Creative Group that is in-house. 3 creative directors and 12 marketers that are constantly putting out, back to the branding thing, logos and branding. And so all of our brands, if you see them, are done by this team. And it's been an important part of setting the tone of what are you? Your brand, our brand as a restaurant or a nightclub is the same as a DJ's brand. Like, it's the most important thing to who are you, and your long-term success is going to be built off of that. Absolutely. So marketing for DJs, management for talent and artists, Big Night Radio, and one of my goals for the future is Big Night Records. So
awesome. You heard it
and
first.
No plans of opening up any restaurants outside of any west of Boston, anywhere
There's
else.
0 chance I can say that there's 0 chance.
Keep it close to home.
No, I'm saying we have no idea. There's opportunities every week that hit our desk, and it's like you can't say yes to everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So now it's like it's got to be the right opportunity. And you can't just open a nightclub in Las Vegas, for instance. That's not an option. You need $1 billion with a B. Literally. And even if you do, chaos, it doesn't mean that you're going to succeed.
Absolutely
right?
not.
So $1 billion doesn't even work in Vegas, necessarily. So who knows what's on the horizon? I think we just have to be the best we can be here and sort of see what opportunities arise. But I would say that there is a chance of growth beyond New England for sure.
Dope.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Sure.
I know you want LA.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Travel is an interesting thing because as an operator of a nightclub, or a restaurant, you kind of have to be there.
You gotta be
there.
So it's very hard. I think that's
Trust the people you got over there.
Yeah, we've kept it in this core, very specifically because you do have to kind of be around.
Yeah.
So it would be hard to just open something. One of us would have to move there full time,
Right.
Or many of us if we were to ever do that.
Nobody has to move there. I'm already there.
All right. I got it.
Okay then.
We'll keep that in mind.
Well, Dave just got a job interview after this. But no, thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Yeah,
we really
absolutely,
appreciate
man.
you. That was amazing to share your story. And I think any final things, anything you want to plug? No,
man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Great.
it. Yeah,
No, appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. MikiDz Podcast. Another episode is in the wraps. Whatever you want to call it.
Episode later.
It'll be named later.
Thanks for tuning in. And we got the link up. So keep up with us.
Let's go.